Time to grab your bamboo sword and channel your inner schoolgirl warrior, because we're diving into one of the strangest and most stylish action games on the Super Nintendo, Kendo Rage, part magical girl, part beat 'em up, and totally 90s weird. This is one SNES gem you probably didn't see coming. So let's head to Japan, battle some ghosts, and see if this Kendo Club adventure is worth the swing. Kendo Rage, known as Makaruna Makandu in Japan, was released for the Super Nintendo in 1993 by Datum Polystar and localized by Sega in North America. It's a side-scrolling action game where you play as a high school girl with a kendo stick who's also battling supernatural monsters on her way to school. Yeah, it's as wild as it sounds. It never got the attention of bigger titles like Mega Man X or Castlevania, but Kendo Rage still manages to stand out thanks to its unusual tone, flashy combat, and uniquely Japanese flair. The plot of Kendo Rage is, well, a little confusing. In the North American version, you play as Josephine, a typical American girl who's come to Japan to attend a martial arts school. She's recruited by a spirit guide named Osaki, who looks like a floating mustache with arms, and told that she must fight evil spirits on her daily commute to school. In the original Japanese version, the protagonist is a girl named Mai, and the story is much more anime-inspired, with magical powers and a rivalry with her brother. The localization stripped out most of that charm, but the weirdness remains intact. Either way, you're still running, jumping, and smacking bizarre enemies with your kendo sword across 6 increasingly chaotic stages. Gameplay in Kendo Rage is classic side-scrolling action. You move from left to right, taking down enemies with a variety of sword strikes. You can swing forward, jump and attack, crouch and slash, and even perform a screen-clearing special move once your energy bar is charged. Enemies range from goofy to grotesque, flying Tengu masks, bouncing spirits and monsters that look like rejects from a Sailor Moon fever dream. Each stage ends with a unique boss fight, and this is where the game really shines. These bosses are big, flashy, and often genuinely bizarre, like a giant cyclops, a floating fashion model, or a monstrous magician. Combat is simple but satisfying. Your kendo stick has a decent range, and you can combo enemies with quick strikes. That said, the controls can feel a little stiff. There's no dash or backstep, and Josephine moves more like a tank than a ninja. The jump arc is floaty, which can make platforming feel awkward, especially in later stages filled with traps and narrow platforms. Still, the game makes up for it with responsive combat and a decent challenge curve. Graphically, Kendo Rage has a colorful, anime-inspired art style that really pops. The character sprites are large and expressive, especially Josephine, whose attack animations and dramatic wind poses feel ripped straight from a 90s anime. Each stage has a unique theme, from haunted forests and stormy mountain paths to neon-lit cities and spooky castles. The enemy designs are packed with personality, and the boss sprites are impressively large for a 16-bit game. It's a visual treat, especially if you're into early anime aesthetics. You can tell the artists had fun with the character designs, even if some animations are a little stiff by SNES standards. The soundtrack is energetic and quirky, with catchy themes that mix traditional Japanese instruments with upbeat synth rock. It might not reach Mega Man X levels of iconic, but it holds its own and fits the game's wacky tone. Sound effects are decent. You get satisfying smacks with your kendo stick, eerie enemy growls, and magical chimes when you power up. There's no voice acting, but the sound design still adds personality to the game. The boss themes especially stand out, often adding an extra layer of tension and flair during the fights. Kendo Rage offers a moderate challenge. The first few stages are pretty easy, but the difficulty ramps up fast, especially with tricky platforming and swarms of enemies. You've got a health bar and limited continues, and some bosses can wipe you out fast if you're not careful. There's also a hidden leveling system. The more enemies you defeat, the more your power builds up, eventually unlocking better attacks and specials. That gives the game a subtle RPG feel and encourages aggressive play. Replayability is a bit limited. It's a short game, clocking in at around an hour. But mastering each stage, learning boss patterns, and going for no-death runs gives it some longevity for hardcore players. Kendo Rage never got the recognition it deserved. It released quietly in the West and never spawned a sequel here. In Japan though, Makaruna Makandu actually became a small series, with sequels on the PlayStation and even a 2D fighting game spin-off. For Western audiences, it remains a cult curiosity, an anime-infused action game with a bizarre premise, solid mechanics, and a ton of charm. It's not a masterpiece, but it's definitely worth playing if you're a fan of overlooked Super Nintendo titles, magical girl anime, or unique action platformers. If you can get past the stiff controls and quirky localization, there's a lot to love about this weird little gem from the 16-bit era. So, did Kendo Rage make your Super Nintendo collection? Or is this your first time hearing about it? Either way, it's one of those hidden oddities that deserves a second look. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're looking at picking up a copy of this game, then your best bet is a repro from AliExpress. It's a hell of a lot cheaper doing it that way. If you enjoyed this retro review, kendo that like button, subscribe for more classic game content, and hit the bell to stay updated. Until next time, stay fierce, stay nostalgic, and never underestimate a girl with a kendo stick.